What's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today I got a real dope video for y'all. For entertainment purposes only. So like, subscribe, and hit the bell. And leave a comment. But I'm gonna cut this talking short and get straight into the content.
So the next level of rich is a net worth of $10 million to $30 million. At this level, your needs are met. You can live very comfortably. You have a really nice house. You often fly first class internationally. If it's a special occasion, you might book a $2,000 suite. You can afford any healthcare you need. And in fact, no emergency financial situation can destroy your life. And yet, you're still not rich in the way that money doesn't matter. You still have to be sensible and careful when it comes to big decisions. And in the banking world, you're still not classified as having an ultra-high net worth. Which brings us to our next level. A net worth of $30 million to $100 million. At this point, you start playing in the big leagues. And most likely, you run or have a controlling interest in a very large company. You always stay at 5-star hotels, and you have multiple residences all around the world that you can stay in as well. You take holidays during prime time, for example, going to Monaco for the Grand Prix, or Cannes for the film festival. And you won't bat an eyelid when the place you're staying at costs $10,000 to $20,000 per night. You have personal assistants and are starting to have people that others have to talk to that get to you. You can buy pretty much anything that normal people think of as stuff rich people buy. Like you can buy any cars you want, the fanciest jewelry, and so on. Instead of flying first class, you fly private. Although, having said that, you typically charter a flight or own a private jet fractionally through a service like NetJets, instead of buying it outright and having to maintain it. But still, at this level, another big change that happens is your social circle. You probably start socializing with congressmen, senators, and community leaders. You're likely very well respected within some very high-class circles. Interestingly though, since you're likely surrounded by other ultra-wealthy people, you may start to feel you don't have enough. Sure, you may have just bought a new Ferrari, but your friend has a limited edition version where only 5 were ever made. And sure, you had dinner with a local governor, but your billionaire friend just had dinner with the president. Even at this level, people are still looking above them. Which brings us to our next level of wealth, $100 million.
Life for part 3.
I can remember being 16 making $7.50 an hour and imagining what it'd be like making $10 an hour. Then I got that and then the cycle repeated. The truth of the matter, you'll never be satisfied. That's because satisfaction and happiness don't come from material things.
So you mean to tell me frequencies can kill cancer cells? You might want to watch this.
300,000 hertz. 2 input frequencies, one low, one high, and the highest frequency must be 11 times the lower, what we musicians would call the 11th harmonic. When we add the 11th harmonic, we begin to shatter microorganisms like a crystal glass. These organisms are being shattered by our electronic signals. They begin to slow down, then they stop, then they begin to disintegrate within about 3 minutes. You'll see a large organism in the center, a paramecium, undergoing disintegration, and swimming all around it, a tiny different organism, which is unharmed. We film the destruction of hundreds of microorganisms. We attack pancreatic cancer. They change their shape and size. This is the beginning of a process of destruction for cancer cells. So now we attack leukemia cells. They're shattered into dozens of fragments. You can see by the end of the video, a great many ovarian cancer cells were destroyed.
And we already know about the law of nature, how everything vibrates. So if everything vibrates, that means cancer vibrates too, right? If you find the right frequencies, you can shatter any food, just like a wine glass. This just make you think though, will they start using frequencies or are they gonna stick to a pharmacy now that they know this information? Y'all let me know what y'all think about cancer cells being shattered by frequencies in the comments. Like or follow.
We all know frequencies are powerful and healing would have been around for ages. It ain't no question on if, I want to know what they've been doing.
Can somebody tell me what's going on in Pennsylvania? Do y'all see this?
The fucking world falling apart and shit.
You have no idea. I've been saying this.
I'm not fucking with it. What's going on?
Y'all see this? What is going on? This is Pennsylvania. And so many people in the comments saying they saw this. Do y'all?
This shit just flashing. Huh?
Y'all remember last year? Not last year, but 2018, when this happened to New York as well. But this is like this is blue light. They said it was a transformer, but this is like a transformer to you, y'all? Look at that. And now the same thing is happening in Pennsylvania. The sky is just gray right here, y'all. Look at this, y'all. And it is silent. You don't hear no surges of electricity, nothing like that. No humming, no vibration. What is going on, y'all? Oh my goodness. And why isn't the news saying anything about this? They were quick to say about New York. Let us know what's going on, y'all. I keep reminding you guys, this is the most interesting time to be alive. You guys are witnessing the most immaculate times on earth. This is the greatest show on earth, and you have a front row seat. So Pennsylvania, if you're out there, let us know what's going on down there, y'all. And anybody else who has an idea, who knows what this is, let us know. Share this video, y'all. Share this video. This video is for entertainment purposes only. I am only bringing awareness to situations. That being said, thank you for tuning to my frequency. Keep up with me on my other accounts, especially my YouTube.
Mad of them. Yo. Look at him disappearing. You see this shit, right? Yo. Man, UFOs in the air right here. Like, it ain't nothing but cloudy sky. So, look, they dissipating. Look at this shit. This is crazy. These are the same shits I seen in Arizona that time. Yo, they not playing around. Yeah, and ain't no military, nothing going on right now in this area. Nope. Yo, I literally walked outside and it was way more than what y'all even seen on the camera. No, hold on. This shit. Okay, so boom. And they still up there because on my camera, okay, boom. Now they like gone. All of them gone now.
Why are Alaska's rivers turning orange? In the 70s, the water in Kobuk Valley National Park was crystal clear, but now up to 75 of them are beginning to literally rust. Oxygen levels are low and the pH is like 6.4. Some tests went as low as 2.5, which is basically vinegar, and it has the electrical conductivity you would normally see in industrial wastewater. So you cannot drink this. Scientists also believe it's happening in other parts of the Arctic, in addition to Russia and Canada. The exact process on why this is happening is still being tested, but it's likely permafrost. The temperatures in this region have increased by 4 degrees, which is contributing to the melting and thawing. Permafrost is a carbon-rich layer just beneath the soil that's normally frozen all year long. The orange color is either from these iron-bearing minerals being exposed to water or oxygen, or the thawing is allowing microbes in the soil to reduce the iron, and then that leaks into the water. If the permafrost continues to thaw, it will release not only iron-rich sediments, but tons of ancient carbon dioxide and methane into the air. I don't normally like to talk about the depressing stories, but sometimes things that happen up in the woods go completely unnoticed by the general public, and I think this is really important. However, it's worth noting that they're still early in the research, and I do think there is a solution here that we will find. Because what choice do we have?
CRISPR consists of two components, the Cas9 protein that can cut DNA and a guide RNA that can recognize the sequence of DNA to be edited. To use CRISPR-Cas9, scientists first identify the sequence of the human genome that's causing a health problem. Then, they create a specific guide RNA to recognize that particular stretch of A's, T's, G's, and C's in the DNA. The guide RNA is attached to the DNA cutting enzyme Cas9, and then this complex is introduced to the target cells. It locates the target letter sequence and cuts the DNA. At that point, scientists can then edit the existing genome by either modifying, deleting, or inserting new sequences. Effectively makes CRISPR-Cas9 a cut and paste tool for DNA editing.
Exciting news, you guys. The FDA has approved 2 gene therapies for sickle cell disease, including one that uses CRISPR technology. Sickle cell disease is seen in more than 100,000 Americans, most commonly in Black Americans, and it causes anemia, pain crises, as well as organ dysfunction. The new therapy is called exa-cel, and it was produced by both CRISPR Therapeutics as well as Vertex Pharmaceuticals. In a small trial of about 30 patients, it improved pain crises, and some patients even were free of pain crises up to 4 years later. According to reports, there may be up to 20,000 people in the US that would qualify for this particular CRISPR technology. Now, this therapy is complicated. Blood cells as well as bone marrow needs to be removed. They are sent to a lab and are edited, and then eventually they are grown. The T cells are grown and then reinserted into the patient. But prior to this, they need to receive chemotherapy to condition their body, and afterwards they may need a hospitalization for at least a month. Now, this gene therapy will be expensive, probably priced over $1 million. So it begs the question, how accessible will this be? Nonetheless, this is exciting new news. Take care.
This is a nice advancement. I even thought about buying a CRISPR kit a few years back, but I'm too creeped out for all that. But the fact that it can go into your DNA, cut, copy, and paste, and they want to try it on Black people first?
Ever. Very fucking interesting.
What are you doing? Run! It's the week of greatness. What you doing?
The week of greatness.
This is the real thing!
Nah, man. This is the real thing.
Are you wearing the new Icon Clash?
Size 8. I need a 6.
I need this in 16.
Y'all seen this shit?
Not today. Is it dead?
Well, that's not dead.
Yeah, I'm refreshing y'all memory about this Foot Locker commercial. Zombies, asteroids, aliens. They pretty much got every conspiracy inside this goddamn commercial. Now, I know I'm not the only person that had that thought that everything's gonna happen at one time. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this strange Foot Locker commercial in the comments. Like or follow for more wisdom.
Don't take this seriously, it's for entertainment. I had a strong feeling that after Christmas, things were going to start escalating pretty quick. Netanyahu says that the fighting isn't even close to finish as they reach 20,000 unalived in Gaza. Now, this video is not about this. Neither are we talking about how Russia just threatened the U.S. military bases in NATO territory. I don't know if you realize how big that is, that they had crossed in the NATO territory and attacked the bases. But it's huge, especially with this calendar that the Russian feds just released. So this is about something else. I use those two things to show you we are almost at the peak. And when we are at the peak, crazy things start to happen. So we're going to be talking about Trump, Ingerson Lockwood, and Space Force. So Trump pushed Space Force. Now, the first question we have to ask is, why are people who are very aware there is no space pushing for a Space Force? But I think I have the answer. So first, let's go to Ingerson Lockwood. Let's go to his book. So you should know by now that Ingerson Lockwood wrote 2 books in the 1800s called The Adventures of Barron Trump and The Last President, about the last president of the United States. Also, Trump's uncle raided Nikola Tesla with a time machine. So let me read this for you. The entire east side of New York is in a state of uproar. Mobs of vast size organizing under the lead of the anarchists and the socialists. Yeah, threaten to plunder and despoil houses of the rich who have wronged and oppressed them for many years, right? It seems like there's a big uproar happening in the United States. 1900, The Last President. It's a surrealistic 1896 novel where Americans are protesting a corrupt election process while the president's hometown hometown, New York, is fearing the collapse of republic after the transition of presidential power. Now, if you go down a little bit more, it says, it reminds you of 2016. No. This is not about 2016. This is about 2024. And again, Americans are protesting a corrupt election. Sounds oddly familiar to a few years ago. Process while the president's hometown, New York, is fearing the collapse of the republic after the transition of the presidential power. This is literally talking about now, not 2016. This has nothing to do with 2016, but more 2020, 2024. So that again brings me to Ingerson, Lockwood, and Trump, and then Space Force. Why do we need a Space Force when these people know that space is a figment of their imagination? I'll show you why. First off, it was revealed to me that SpaceX in itself was mainly used to cover up the movement of the heavenly bodies, the angels, the fallen angels, the war in the heaven, so they can point to everything and say that's SpaceX, when we know it's not. It's things in the sky the Bible told us to watch. But now, Space Force, right? Look at this, a satellite formation to display pixel images from the sky, mission design and control algorithms. So what are all these satellites around the world for? To link up and display images in the sky. So I know you're thinking, what kind of images? What kind of pictures? Well, I'll tell you. One day, very, very soon, at the climax of the war, in the climax of the alien invasion, the greatest, the climax of all things, there's going to be images of gods in the sky. This is what it's all about. Tricking all of humanity into the Antichrist system and to worship the God of the Antichrist and the Antichrist himself. A concept of deploying spacecraft formations to display advertisement images from space is considered. That's what this is all about, to show us these crazy things in the sky and humanity to believe that they are real. Remember, we're going to need something, some catastrophic event to push all of humanity into the beast system, where the whole world is under one power, one ruling force, the beast that comes out the ocean in Revelation 13, which will put into subject all Christians, all nationalities, tongues, etc. over the whole entire earth. So how would this happen? It's going to be a great deception. There's going to be gods in the sky. There's going to be aliens all around. The aliens are going to say, we are your makers. This is our God. And the people are going to go for it. That's why here on his Ingerson Lockwood, the same guy who wrote the books about Trump and his son, he has Space Force right in the front. It's all connected. It's all about the same freaking thing. Which is exactly why a coded link from Ingerson Lockwood's own page will bring you to the Abrahamic Accord, because there's going to be a one world religion, and the Pope's going to be over the new Abrahamic religion, and their new God's going to be the one that they project in the sky.
Hey, I'm really ready to see how I play out with this Space Force. It's like waiting on that dope movie to drop in the summer.
Somebody said copper is toxic according to the medical medium.
You guys stay away from copper.
I will continue to keep drinking out of my copper, just like all the copper pipes that used to be around America in 1910, 1920, 1930, 1940, until about World War II, they all started disappearing. DuPont also got rid of all the copper pipes and everybody using copper because they wanted people using Teflon and plastic. And the whole copper is toxic is an interesting thing, because our body is primarily copper and carbon. So how can copper be toxic? And then the other thing too is copper and carbon create electricity. What are we? Electrical beings. If we don't have electricity, our body doesn't function. That's why they zap you back to life. And people used to wear copper to get rid of inflammation and pain. That was a big one. Down in the South, they used to wrap people with copper so they could get rid of inflammation and pain and osteoporosis. Somebody just said, this is crazy. Hold on, I gotta read this. Mark Zuckerberg got copper pipes installed in his house in Hawaii. Someone just commented. Dangerous copper pipes, you know? And if you go to, like, let's say you go to the Balkan region, or you go to, for example, like Turkey and all these different places, everybody uses copper. And once you start working with copper, you'll see the difference. Once you start drinking from copper, you'll see the difference. Once you start using grounding shoes, or maybe a grounding rod into the earth with copper, you'll see the difference.
This is by far the craziest ingredient you'll ever see in your life, and they call it HEK 293. This one brings a whole new definition to the term natural flavors. What is this HEK 293? Immortalized human embryonic kidney cells. That's crazy. How could this be a flavor? How could this be an ingredient There were a bunch of these companies who are said to have been using this ingredient, but nobody really wanted to admit it, so there was a bunch of lawsuits over it, right? Let's check out this company, Cenemix. Cenemix is a biotech company who claimed to have reverse engineered the human taste and aroma receptors. So at one point, this company was getting a lot of heat, right? But this was all swept under the rug. Nobody really thought this was a big deal. Now, this Cenemix company was working directly with companies like Nestle and Pepsi, of course. Now, this flavor enhancer was supposedly only used for a certain amount of time. I don't really know when, how, and where, if they're still using this, because you always find out 20 years later that it was snuck in under some fake alias name. But it doesn't really matter if they're still using it or not, because this actually does exist, and they were actually using this as a flavor enhancer. Unbelievably, you can go over to your government's biotech website and read about how they were actually using this in pharmaceuticals. And look what else they're putting this in. So right here under your government's documented website here, talking about how they're using these fetal cell lines, and you know what? You have your friends over at PolitiFact over here totally debunking the fact that they were using or are using these HEK cells in the food as a flavor enhancer, but this is a flavor enhancement company and this is an ingredient, right? Well, if you read a little bit further on this NPR.org, this state bill outlaws using fetuses in food industry. Why would they do that? Think about it. Why is there a bill outlawing using fetuses in the food industry? Why would they even need to do that if nobody ever was doing it? And why were people emailing these companies trying to get them to answer for using this ingredient as a food additive? We have to ask ourselves what they actually are doing and what they plan to be doing with the food.
I don't know. Food has been tasting different lately. Maybe because they took that off the shelf. At this point, I really want to just go outside and eat some sunlight.
You will never be able to wake up if you don't understand how you got put to sleep. That's why when people get knowledge, the first thing they say is, wake up.
Once upon a time, in a faraway land, a young prince lived in a shining castle. Although he had everything his heart desired, the prince was spoiled, selfish, and unkind. But then, one winter's night, an old beggar woman came to the castle and offered him a single rose in return for shelter. So, repulsed by her haggard appearance, the prince sneered at the gift and turned the old woman away. She warned him not to be deceived by appearances, for beauty is found within. And when he dismissed her again, the old woman's ugliness melted away to reveal a beautiful enchantress. The prince tried to apologize, but it was too late, for she had seen that there was no love in his.
They are trying to tell you we all come from a royal bloodline of kings and queens, but we lost our way when we fell in love with the material world. And Disney found a clever way to put us under hypnosis so we don't understand what's taking place. The leading character of this cartoon is called Belle. Belle represents a certain kind of frequency. You notice soon as Belle walked into the store, the bell rung over her head. The goddess is now asleep. She is stuck reading a fairy tale book to try to understand creation. But she forgot she is the one that actually created creation. Remember, we are the kings and queens of this reality. But we lost our way and they turned us into a beast in the Matrix. The beast was given a red rose inside of this jar. That red rose represents our heart that's locked in the Matrix. He was also given a mirror because we can only see the real world within, not without. After the end of the movie, the beast is actually unalive and he come back to life. That represents rebirth or connecting back to your spiritual self. These movies are trying to tell us that we are at the bottom of the universe, the material world, the lowest realm in the universe. Check out the link in my bio for more info.
Quick recap of all the news in under 2 minutes. First, zombie deers. Like, no, I wish I was kidding. The scientists are getting worried at this point. With the surging cases of the zombie deer disease, they're worried it could spread to humans. I wonder what's causing these deer to turn into zombies, though. And they're saying that humans should be prepared for a slow-moving disaster. If you see your state in red, that means you got the zombie deer disease near you. Look at this poor little guy right beside me. Of course, we have Nibiru getting closer every single day. And what's weird about this is in like the medieval ages and hundreds of years ago, they knew that Nibiru was coming. I don't know how they knew, but they knew. Maybe that's why things are getting so weird around here. UFO right over Biden's plane. But don't worry about aliens, worry about this. Maine's Secretary of State has now officially taken Trump off the ballot. After Colorado took him off the ballot, they said that many states would follow, and that's what we're seeing. Keep those eyes on Trump. Trump did say that he was the chosen one, and Ingerson Lockwood did write that he would be the last president.